What's up, guys? Hey, everyone, what's up? It's DeAnna Lorraine, and you are on Make Love Great Again on the New Right Network. What's going on, guys? It is Wednesday, and it's been a hell of an interesting day. If you're wondering where I was before, and Monday, let's just make sure everything is connected. I, uh, when you live as close to the beach as I do, which is just 2 blocks from the beach, your houses need to get sometimes tented for termites and termite prevention. And that's what was going on. We had to get our house tented Monday to today, and obviously we couldn't be in it. And the hotel I was staying at was really crappy internet, unfortunately. And I tried to broadcast, and the stream just kept getting cut off, unfortunately. So thanks for your patience, and I'm sorry for the delay. But we're here now, and this is why the unusual time. Probably I will be having another broadcast tomorrow and on Friday as well at the normal time. So in just a minute here, I'm actually going to be calling into this radio show to Kogo from San Francisco, and we are going to be discussing the first transgender candidate. The first transgender candidate. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. Type it in the chat room so I could ask or say it, talk about it to the radio show host. But we will be discussing the first transgender candidate, Christine Hallquist. She will be the first transgender governor nominee for the Democrat Party, speaking at this rally. So I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on Christine Hallquist, the first Democratic transgender person? My worry about it is that it's going to cloud the other more important issues, and we really need a strong economy. We need so many things in our country, but I worry that it's just going to turn into more social issues, and that's what really is going to be the focus. And I just don't think, I think we've had enough time to focus on social issues. We're constantly focusing on social issues, but what about the issues that are really affecting? Yes. Dems are just trying to push everything but what is really important. And what is really important, guys? What is really important? Immigration reform, taxes, lowering taxes. Yes, Will, this was a reschedule from this morning because the termite people were still here. Economy. I do know things about her before I'm making judgments, and she seems like a great candidate. She seems perfectly great, but I worry that it's really just going to come down to so many social issues making this up. They really keep talking about how they want to get in the history books for being transgender and running for office. Children, yes, our children is important. Okay, time to call in. Let's see. Get your questions in, get your comments in.
Hi, welcome back.
Hi.
You on hold now.
Okay.
Thank you. One for Vallejo East for American Canyon. I'm afraid that into San Francisco there is an accident involving a semi west 80 west of Treasure Island and 2 other vehicles, I should point out. They made it over to the right-hand lane, but traffic is absolutely crawling from the toll plaza. The metering lights may have to be activated. Out of town, North 101 is very heavy from 280 to the lower deck of the Bay Bridge. Traffic sponsored by Mancini Mancini Sleep World, you are closer than ever to a great night's sleep. Mancini Sleep World invites you to rest easy during the Labor Day 65% off mattress sale. Enjoy huge savings on your choice of comfort. Call 800-64-SLEEP or visit sleepworld.com and start sleeping better tonight.
Sunny skies, mild temperatures this afternoon. Overnight, the fog spilling back over the bay with lows low to upper 50s. Warmer tomorrow and hot inland by the weekend. I'm Paul Rogers, KGO 810.
This is the Chip Franklin Show on KGO 810 and streaming online at KGORadio.com. Join the conversation at 808810. Now, Chip Franklin on KGO 810.
All right, politics is, with the old saying, it's like sausage. You don't want to see either getting made. And we're going to have an opportunity, I think, to look at sausage here in the days and weeks ahead as Christine Hawkins became the country's first transgender candidate for governor. Happened yesterday. She won the Democratic primary in Vermont. Now, we were talking with Brian, our producer, who's not here today, but Brian is from Maine, talking about Vermont. Of course, it's Bernie Sanders' town, but it's also, Bernie Sanders is not as liberal in some ways, in some areas, as you might expect. For example, Bernie Sanders is very pro-gun, and that was, I think, some of the DNC pushback on him was he was an independent, blah, blah, blah. Now you look at Hawkins and what she is going to face, and my question is real simple. Regardless of where you think the bar is in politics, if you were a Republican and you were running against Christine, would you use her status as a transgender to try to win the election? Now, if you're a progressive, I'm a progressive. You got to be honest. You flip it around, and there was something about a Republican that was different. If a Republican had affairs, the same group that said, it's Clinton's personal life, you would use it. So, but I'm just kind of curious, and I think this is a fair question. What would be the status of that? What would you do? Joining me right now is a woman who's deep in this. Her name is DeAnna Lorraine. She's a conservative commentator, woman for Trump, GOP analyst, and a millennial as well. Nice enough to join us. Hi, DeAnna. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. We don't have to talk about Trump. We can just talk about this because I think this is one of those moments. There was another story today in Oklahoma. They had to shut a school down because the parents of another child started talking about the transgender kid was at the school. But then there's like red states like Montana, which has a Democratic governor, but also is really way out in front. They defeated anti-trans legislation as far as restrooms and stuff. Let me ask you, if you were handling somebody's campaign, the Republican running against her, would you consider using her status as a transgender to try to win the election? Or you can?
Well, it's definitely the elephant in the room, right? It would be hard not to discuss that in any capacity, the fact that she is a transgender and she's making history, right? However, I wouldn't necessarily advise them to use the fact that she's transgender in and of itself to run against, because I think that we've come so far as a country that it would be bigotry, right? That doesn't look good. It's not a good look to point out someone that they're transgender and use that as the winning case. But what I would advise them to do is speak to the social factor of it, that she will probably, being transgender, she may force these social issues on the country and make her policy more about social issues, which we've already had enough of. A lot of Republicans are kind of sick and tired of these social issues that we're fighting, and more about what's going to make our country run better, what's going to make our country wealthier, what do our children need to be stronger citizens. And I think that's the platform I would use.
That's a great point of view. As long as people, whether they're minorities, people of color, and or transgender, people with disabilities, I think that this is one of the differences, I think, between progressives and conservatives is how much the government should be involved in the lives of people who can't do for themselves. The old Martin Luther King said, "You can't pull yourself by your bootstraps if you don't have boots." And it's funny because a lot of what he said was very conservative. People forget that. I mean, go back and look at JFK. A lot of some of the platforms he had, especially the national defense, or kind of go with conservative. And I promised I wouldn't talk about Trump, but I mean, you don't sound like a Trump supporter from what you just said, because this guy, the man that's in the office right now. I mean, Kasich was talking about him the other day, and I'm a big John Kasich fan, and it's like I'm disappointed in his language and the things he does. I'm not. I worry about issues like this. Really setting. It's going to sound crazy. Setting your party back so far that the Democrats have full rule for a while, and then and when any party has no opposition, they do stupid things.
Right. I worry that it's going to be sort of, she's going to use this as, a way to progress social justice issues and have it be sort of an anti-Trump fest, right? Because she's already been very vocal about believing that Trump is a bigot and a despot, and that he's very against transgender and the LGBTQIA community. And that's actually not really true. He's against some things like transgenders in the military and having them pay for their transition, but he's not against the LGBTQ community. And I worry, as many Republicans would, that she's going to use that as her main platform. And if she won, then she's going to be making some sweeping changes that would affect people that are, for instance, Christians and who don't believe in same-sex marriage, or people who don't want to be brought into these social issues of, the bathroom issue, or, teaching LGBTQ curriculum to kindergartner or people in elementary school. A lot of people think that's inappropriate.
The problem with all that, though, interrupting him, the problem is you go back and, Trump's position about, military not wanting to pay for transition. So, people like Duncan Hunter have said it's okay, and you don't get more conservative than Congressman Hunter. Because he's military, he's been there, he's seen this, he's seen that.
Sure, he's won.
Trans people have fought for this country. Though he wore 3 tours, 2 in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq. I mean, people that have been there, the military, they're all for it. And so,
I don't know about they're all for it. I've met plenty of people that are against it, so I wouldn't put them all in.
It doesn't matter because it's not their lives. And the idea that somebody has this about them, and I don't think many people doubt that this is not a choice. This is who they are. And if it's not a choice and it's who you are, I don't know why there's such pushback. But but to get back to the final thing, if you were running the Republicans campaign against Ms. Hallquist,
yes,
would you use this in some way to try to, especially if she's using it? Would you feel that it was fair game?
Yes, especially if she's using it, to speak to minorities or whatever, then it's fair game. But, I think that there are some people of the mind that believe that, and I'm going to be not politically correct here, that gender dysphoria is a mental disorder, and it was a mental disorder. And whether you believe that or not, some people might use that as a way to say that she might be completely not fit to be in governor. I wouldn't personally advise that. I wouldn't, like I said, I would focus much more not on the fact that she's transgender in herself, because I don't think that's a good look at all, and I don't think that shows a lot of heartlessness, to be honest. And I think that's what's more of the issue, is that she may use this as a platform just to progress even further these social justice issues, which she's already said that she would, instead of focusing.
We push social justice.
Yeah.
Come back and talk again. We have more time.
100%, anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, DeAnna Lorraine, and nice enough to let me give her a kick right here.
Anytime.
You
too.
Thanks, DeAnna.
All right, bye. Okay, how was that for a debate? I didn't back down. What do you guys think? How did that go? Now, I wasn't going to go there and say, well, did we not know that maybe 5 years ago gender dysphoria was considered technically a mental disorder in the Manual of Mental Disorders? Hey, guys. Hey, everyone. Thanks, everyone, saying I'm beautiful. You guys are so sweet. Oh, man. I should have said that. Good, GJ. Joy Bahar, some people who believe in God are mentally ill, right? So I had a great retort there. Now, I hope I didn't offend too many people there on their radio show, but some people do. Am I not right that if she won, the platform is going to just be what already has been happening with social justice warriors, but on steroids. And it's going to be the focus on social justice issues, what bathroom we should use, whether a 5-year-old should be reading a book called Jacob's New Dress or not, instead of focusing on the issues that are really going to make America prosper or not. Instead of the issues that we need to focus on to actually make America great again, wealthy again, and safe again. Damn, I should have just said that. Anyways, guys, what's up? Thanks for your patience today. It is a hot day today in paradise. Let's go over some of pretty right-wing. I would, if that's called right, I mean, we've already discussed, we've been embedded in social justice issues in the last few years. We've been saturated in it thanks to Obama. No, I don't think transgender should be in the military. I think that detracts from the goal of the military, which is to be 100% battle-focused and protect the country, right? And I certainly don't think the military should be paying for transgenders' transition procedures. No, we should not be paying for that. I'm sorry. So if that makes me right-wing, I guess that makes me right-wing. But I am on the New Right Network, so not really a surprise there. Yes, this was about the trans running for governor, yes. Attacking the candidate would be a failure. It would build sympathy for her, yes. But attacking the candidate's viewpoint is absolutely fair. So anyways, speaking of, let's discuss the Unite the Right. Unite the Right. Did you guys watch the Unite the Right coverage? Let's discuss that. Okay, where did it go? Unite the Right. God, we have so many things to talk about today. The Unite the Right shit show was interesting. And so biased, as usual. I mean, the coverage was so biased. We're probably not going to go over everything that I wanted to go over today, but that's okay. All right, let's talk about the Unite the Right first, and then we'll talk about everything else. So, ooh, it's so hot in here. White nationalists. White nationalists dwarfed by crowds of counter-protesters in Washington. Why do they always say that they're white nationalists? Isn't that what's funny? Approximately 24 white nationalists rallied in the nation's capital on Sunday, 1 year after clashes in Charlottesville, Virginia left one person dead and elevated racial tensions in America. It didn't elevate racial tensions. CNN and the race baiters elevated racial tensions, right? The showing from Unite the Right 2 participants fell short of the hundreds that organizer Jason Kessler was expecting. Great, maybe that means that racism is going down in America, something that you guys should want, right? A small stage and speaker system was set up in the park. They addressed the small group over the jeers of the anti-racist demonstrators who chanted, "Nazi, go home! Shame, shame!" I expected the media to continue their trend of assigning one reporter to every white supremacist left in the country. Approximately 24 white nationalists rallied in the nation's capital on Sunday. You know what's funny is I found 170 articles about the march. 170. Forget a reporter for every supremacist. Now it's 7 articles for every supposed white nationalist or white supremacist. Amazing, right? It's like they find the one white nationalist or white supremacist or Nazi in the crowd, and then they're like, oh my gosh, it's the crowd full of white Nazis and supremacists. We won't tolerate bigotry. I don't think anyone tolerates bigotry. Everywhere they went Sunday afternoon, Unite the Right 2 rally-goers were confronted by counter-protesters. Luckily, they don't say Antifa. They always call them counter-protesters, which is the very kind word for them. Even more remarkable than the coverage is what was not covered. For example, an Antifa member tried to break an NBC News camera. Did you guys hear about that? And yelled, "Fuck off, national media culture vulture," which is funny. Remember just over a week ago when Trump supporters were yelling fake news? Allegedly, it put Jim Acosta's life in jeopardy and he was crying. So Antifa people were actually assaulting and yelling and screaming at the news reporters, but yet they're also shouting, "We won't tolerate bigotry and hate in the United States." Crazy, right? So the reaction to an actual assault of a reporter traumatizing to the media? No. NBC used footage from that reporter at the rally, but they didn't show anything from the attack. No, they showed nothing. And they wonder why we call them fake news. I've about had it with CNN and with the fake news media that only pick and choose what they want to show, and they refuse to call Antifa what they are, which are domestic terrorists, right? Common sense equals Nazi. Yep, I am a Nazi for having common sense. And if that makes me a Nazi, then I guess I'm a Nazi. I will say that all day long. No, actually, I'm sure the media is going to find, they're going to find this, clip the tape of me saying that I'm a Nazi, and then my whole career will be going down. Now, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, while we're on the topic of CNN and lies, let's talk about Chris Cuomo, how he is literally defending Antifa and MS-13, basically. He's literally defending them. And I don't think that we can get any more scary than that. I mean, they are domestic terrorists, right? He's saying that it's more moral, it's just as moral for Antifa to go around beating people and throwing Molotov cocktails and being violent towards people. No, that's all okay because that's moral. Two wrongs and a right. Let's see this stupid monologue because this was hilarious and scary. This is how he rationalizes Antifa.
Welcome back to Prime Time. Here's a closing argument. Two wrongs and what is right. It's been 1 year since Heather Heyer was killed for standing up to hate, and our thoughts still go to her family. We know what happened with racial tensions nationwide after that, and this weekend was billed as round two.
No moral equivalency between Nazis and Antifa. Oh, well, if Chris Cuomo on CNN tells me that there's no moral equivalency between Nazi and Antifa, then whoa, then that's got to be true. I guess I need to change my thought pattern.
Organizers planned a rally in Washington, D.C. this time, but the turnout of white supremacists was thankfully pathetic, which is why I didn't have to go there and cover it. Only a couple of dozen showed up. Proof they lost membership after being exposed again last year as a bunch of hateful losers? No. They're still in force online, but they didn't have the guts to show up. And that's
are
good.
They? How do you know? Because you've investigated?
Did. There were good numbers of them. The vast majority were peaceful. But peppered in the crowd were members of Antifa, or anti-fascists. They covered their faces, confronted police, and berated journalists. And that was wrong.
Oh, was it?
Now, you've been hearing it. There's a lot of whataboutism and spin going on, and it's kind of sickening to me. So let's all agree on some common understandings. A protester uses their voice. Song, slang, slurs.
By the way, notice the hypnotic suggestions that go on here. This is all programming. This is very highly technical, highly intelligent programming, right? Let's all agree on something. And people are so dumb, and they so are stuck in this sheeple, brainwashed mindset that they're trained to think of authority figures as the truth, that they literally will just buy this. Oh, because Chris Cuomo says let's all agree on something, then let's all agree on something. Okay, There goes my free thought.
Huge range, but it is talk. When you use your hands in a violent way, you are a rioter.
Yes.
And unless you're justified in defending yourself and you hit someone, you're a thug, you're a criminal. You attack cops, you slap the media, you are in the wrong.
Yes.
Period. But I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally. In the eyes of the law, yes. But in the eyes of good and evil, here's the argument. If you're...
Again, I can't get over the fact that, like, people are so dumb that they literally will listen to Chris Cuomo tell them what is moral or not and then take that as truth. This is called moral relativity, folks. Moral relativity. And it's a beautiful brainwashing
technique. If a punk who comes to start trouble in a mask and hurt people, you're not about any virtuous cause. You're just somebody who's going to be held to the standard of doing something wrong. But when someone comes to call out bigots and it gets hot, even physical, are they equally wrong as the bigot they are fighting? I argue no. Fighting against hate matters. Now, how you fight matters too. There's no question about that. But drawing a moral equivalency between those espousing hate and those fighting it because they both resort to violence emboldens hate, legitimizes hateful belief, and elevates what should be stamped out. That's what Trump did wrong last year when he said this.
You said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it.
Excuse me.
They put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
No. And he proved he still believes that when he wrote this before this year's anniversary. The riots in Charlottesville a year ago resulted in senseless death and division. We must come together as a nation. I condemn all types of racism and acts of violence. Peace to all Americans. He needed to call out the bigots and the white supremacists, and he didn't. Why? And why does he therefore have unprecedented support from these fringe elements of white power? Two wrongs and what is right. The bigots are wrong to hit. Antifa or whomever, anarchist or malcontent or misguided, they are also wrong to hit. But fighting hate is right.
Okay. Fighting hate is right. But what does hate even mean? Hate is completely subjective. What is the definition of hate? Hate. To feel intense or passionate dislike for someone. All right? Intense or passionate dislike. The problem with hate, with labeling something as hate, is it's totally subjective and it's used as a weapon. So for instance, me speaking up and saying that we should have strong borders and that we should let in legal Americans, legal citizens first, and anyone who is illegal should not be allowed to come in the country, even if they have a baby. Now, there's many people that actually call that hate speech. That's hate speech. So is that then deserving, if I say this in a public atmosphere, is it then deserving for someone to beat me over the head till I'm unconscious? Is that deserving? According to Chris Cuomo, it is. Because some people say that that's hate speech. Some people say that people who believe that that we shouldn't have more than two genders, that there is no more than two genders, just male and female, a lot of people say that that is hate speech. They literally have said that I'm a hate speaker. That is hate speech. So now, according to Chris Cuomo, if we're going to use moral relativity here, his guidelines for moral relativity, someone could make the argument that they can beat me in public for saying that. And that person would be considered morally right, according to Chris Cuomo. That person is considered morally right, and I am considered in the wrong. I'm considered morally wrong. Do you guys see where this is going? If you don't have eyes, can you hear where this is going? If you can't think ahead, can you visualize where this is going? This is the slippery slope. This is moral relativity on steroids, and it's going fast. If you can't understand the idiocy of that, the moronic nature of that and the dangerous nature of that, then, obviously you are so brainwashed that you can't think clearly. So, no, because liberals' versions of hate speech and hate is not actually accurate. And that is the problem with his argument. We have a different definition of hate speech, and there actually is no hate speech. Hate speech is a made-up thing to persecute people who actually tell the truth. Because right now, people who tell the truth, they are considered to be hate speech. They are considered to be hateful. People who tell the truth. Telling the truth is now considered hate speech. All right? But I guess that makes me beat-worthy, pill-worthy, locked-up-worthy. That makes me a white supremacist. I think everyone can see where this is going, hopefully. We can't even decide or agree on what is hate speech, what constitutes that. And there's the premise of his entire argument hasn't even been decided on. So there is no argument. It all falls apart. Wow, we've got a lot of trolls here. I've got a lot of people calling me a clown. Maybe I am a clown. I don't know. Now let's talk about gross Omarosa. Gross Omarosa. Let's talk about her crazy ass. I've got a lot to say about her. So Omarosa is threatening to leave, to expose Trump with a tape. She's already been releasing some tapes. And she's been saying that she's got a lot more tapes up her sleeve. She just released her new book, Unhinged. Crazy. And I actually left a comment on her page, her Twitter, the other day, and it's gotten a lot of stuff. But the problem with her tapes is that everybody knows that she's a liar, and it's called normal policy. She's making this big deal about the fact that she was locked in this room for 2 hours, and it was harassment. They were harassing her. She's trying to turn this into something that was wrong, that she was in there for 2 hours, and she didn't have her attorney. But I'm pretty sure that is normal policy for being fired, especially when you're in such a place as the most important place in this country, the White House. If you were fired from any company, they don't just wait till you have attorneys present. They take you and they typically escort you out the building. He wasn't locking her in a room and harassing her. They were actually very kindly, nicely, politely telling her that she's been removed. If you listen to the tape, there was nothing mean about it. There was nothing hateful about it. It was just literally him doing his job. And I thought that he said it in the nicest way possible, actually. Let's look at some of Omarosa's craziness. Oh, and by the way, guys, unfortunately, I just got word from the New Right Network saying that I have to cut the stream at 4:50 today. So it's going to be such a short show. But we're going to be able to go on tomorrow and Friday, which is good. So let's look a little bit about Omarosa's past. What did she do in her past? Well, this was just such a short time ago. Such a short time ago, how quickly she forgets. This is why she's so not credible. She doesn't have an ounce of credibility as far as I'm concerned. This was her, not too long ago. Come on.
Spread, diverse group of people were supporting him, and I think that you'll see that.
Well, whenever this decides to cooperate with me. I guess I've got to refresh the page. I think she's going to be using the Me Too card. I bet you that's next. She literally called Trump a misogynistic racist this week. She called him, she said, my tapes are going to reveal the misogynistic racist that he is. But just a few months ago, she was basically sucking on his you-know-what. She cannot be trusted. Clearly, she's an opportunist. But what's so funny is that people actually believe her. They literally believe her. And I don't think a word out of her mouth should be believed. How do you believe someone that was just sucking up to someone just a few months ago? Clearly, it wasn't true. But let's just look at what she said. Omarosa.
Donald Trump has shaken up the 2016 race, has grabbed up support left and right, and that includes some of his former contestants of his hit reality show, The Apprentice. Omarosa is here to go on the record. Nice to see you.
I am so glad to see you again, Greta.
And we should end for a little trivia. We've met before, have we not?
Yes, I was your PA at CNN while I was a student at Howard University.
There you go. So a little trivia tonight. All right, this is a big night. You know Donald Trump very well. Are you supporting him?
Absolutely, I'm supporting him. But more importantly, I think that Americans don't get to know the real Donald Trump the way I have. I mean, truly the man, not just the sound bites that you hear. He has an incredible heart. And the
man, not just the sound bites that you hear. And she's known him for how many years? 14 years, I think. And now all of a sudden, now he's a man that has poor character.
Is an incredible person, and I've gotten to know him over the last 13 years, and not only do I support him as a human being who has incredible character and a great vision, but his policies affect my community where I live in Los Angeles, and that's really why I stand by him.
How do you think he's going to do with the Hispanic and African-American vote, and why should they vote for him?
Well, we should look at what's happened so far. 8 million people have cast their votes for Donald Trump. Not all of them are white men, as the media would like to purport. Many of them are African-Americans. Many of them are Hispanics. If you look at Florida, they won 66 of the 67 counties. And so, yes, we have a widespread, diverse group of people who are supporting him. And I think that you'll see that as we go forward.
Do you remember the first time you met him?
I do.
And?
2003, September, here in New York, about 5 blocks from here. And I was blown away. He's a powerful, powerful presence. He changes the environment when he walks in. You see the power. You know that he is in control.
Ever have any dust-ups with him?
Yeah, if you ever saw the show, 3 seasons of us going toe-to-toe. But it made for great television. 28 million people tuned in every single week to see the fireworks.
All right, well, the polls close here in a little over an hour.
So there she is on record saying how well she knows him. She's known him for 13 years, and that was 2 years ago. And how much of a great man he is inside and out. She really, really knows him. She loves his character. She truly knows the human being he is, and he has such a good heart, right? How can she be believed after saying things like that? How could she be believed? Let's look some more. Oops.
Manigault is a Trump supporter, also a former Apprentice contestant. Good to see you. We should note a minister and businesswoman as well.
Yes.
Barbara Ress, Trump's former head of construction, reacting last night to her comments published in that New York Times article. She says that Donald Trump's treatment of female employees got worse over time. Take a listen.
We talked all the time, and he never came across as anything but, very respectful of women. And when I returned back to the Trump Organization in '87, he was a little bit different the way he talked about women. In his office, he would refer to women, and the women in the office, he would look at them a little bit like a leering kind of thing. I saw a change, a definite change.
All right, so that's from Megyn Kelly's show last night. Megyn Kelly went on to say that 85% of her experiences have been, quote, quite dark and unpleasant with regards to Donald Trump. Omarosa, why is this a narrative that won't seem to go away for Donald Trump?
Well, it's a narrative because his opponent believes that if he keeps hammering, she keeps hammering this woman's issue. Of course, the woman voting bloc is so incredibly important to the general that will have an impact on Donald Trump in the general election. And so, yes, you're going to keep hearing them. And I just saw that they're investing a significant amount of money with the super PAC to continue this narrative that Donald Trump has a gender issue, a gender gap, and problems with women. But in my personal experience, Craig, which is why you have me here, I have never seen Donald Trump act inappropriately with women. He's always been very respectful, and he does, in a lot of ways, promote women like Barbara. She was a construction manager in the 80s. That's unheard of. He's a trailblazer, and I know from personal experience that he does not disrespect women.
But that shouldn't, just because you promote a woman in your company doesn't mean that you're not saying awful things about them in meetings.
How can she sit here and say that he's a misogynist after years of saying how great he is and how he doesn't respect women? Does she not get that people have tapes that we can play over?
Just because he promoted a few women doesn't mean that, you know.
In no way am I trying to compare apples to oranges. I can only talk about my own personal experience. These women have told their own stories, but I find it very interesting that here we are a year later after he's announced that these stories are coming out. If they were just so traumatizing, so awful, why wouldn't we hear about them in the fall? Why didn't we hear about them in December and January and February? Here we are in May, and we're hearing these new stories that are just, I expect more of it because the opponent believes that it is going to impact him. But I have to tell you that many of the voters that I've talked to, women and voters, really have
my
no
thoughts
interest in
about you, Omarosa. You just repeated the exact same argument what I have about you, which is why, if you were so traumatized by Trump being racist and you're so traumatized by him being this misogynist that you now claim he is, then why did you continue working for him? Why did you work for him at all? You say you've known him for 14 years. You say you know him so well, you know the character, you know who he really, really, really is inside. And now all of a sudden, so it doesn't make you look like the honest person. It makes you look like a liar, and it makes you look like you don't have a shred of credibility. If he was this horrible to you and it was this disturbing to be around, why did you work for him and why did you continue to work for him? And why only now are these supposed tapes and comments coming out saying that this whole time you thought he was a misogynist and a racist this whole time? I know why, because you want to sell a book and you want to do anything to get or extend your 15 minutes of fame. You want to do anything to make a quick buck, even if you sell people who have helped you your whole life up the river. I have no empathy for this woman. I think she's a savage. I don't like the term dog, but she is kind of acting like a dog, right? And I don't think it's going to work well for her in the long run because the Democrats are just going to chew her up, use her for right now. Maybe they're going to get some kicks out of reading this fictional book, and then they're going to spit her back out, right? I don't think that this is going to be long-lasting success for her. She's certainly not hireable anymore. Who's going to ever hire her, knowing that she literally secretly videotaped or audio taped secret meetings in the White House? What person would ever trust her to hire her anymore? She's just proven she's unhireable. I guess this is her last hurrah, right? Let me see how many thousands of dollars I could just make before I become extinct and totally irrelevant. And she's blaming the race card. She's blaming the woman card now. That's the reason why they fired her. Get the hell out of here. Seriously, get the hell out of here. She is an opportunist. She is not just any opportunist, but let's be clear, we know that she's a desperate reality has-been opportunist who's like a vulture just waiting to pounce on any opportunity to make a quick buck or extend her 15 minutes of fame. And I don't believe it, and I'm surprised and disgusted that any liberal would believe it either. She was a traitor to the liberals, right, by being a black woman voting for Trump, and now all of a sudden she's just crying and begging liberals to take her back because she's betrayed the Trump base. I don't see this working out well for her. Do you? He's wonderful because she's alive. I mean, she has gotten all of her success, money, and fame from Trump. All of it. I mean, how does she sleep at night? How does a man actually want to marry her? This lying, thieving biatch. We can never trust her. She'll be another Stormy Daniels. I think she's way worse than Stormy Daniels. The fact that she would just turn on him like this. And she has an opportunity, actually. She had a real opportunity to advance the African American community. I think she had an opportunity to really help Trump. Okay, so maybe she got fired. Maybe she wasn't doing her job or there were integrity issues. right? That happens sometimes, but it doesn't mean you need to just disown the person who's hired you originally. It doesn't mean you need to part your ways and turn on each other and be ruthless towards each other. You can still leave a company and be civil without changing your stripes. And she had an opportunity to, I think, bring more, to really work with the Black community and turn. If she is a conservative, I don't even know what she is. Is she conservative? Is she Republican? Is she Democrat? What does she say she is now? Because that's so fickle and that's just so so short-sighted. I can't even believe that. But no, it's not believable. But of course, most liberals just have no values either. They have no moral compass. It's moral relativity, and they don't stand for anything. So they fall for everything. So they will be the ones to fall for this and eat this all up and believe her lies and donate to her cause, which is crazy. People turning on each other for fame and money. Yes, she thinks her whole life is a reality show, and it's disgusting. Oh, the sun is right in my eyes. Gosh, we had so many stories to go over, but I don't think that we have 5 minutes. Yeah, we're not going to be able to. I'm so sorry that this got cut short today, all my podcasts. Anyways, let's look real quick at Candace. Have you seen Candace Owens' take? Hers was funny. And of course, credit where credit is due. Samantha Guthrie was excellent interviewing Omarosa and exposing her for what she is, a bitter, angry, disloyal woman who wants the people she hates, liberals, to buy her book. And no, this isn't about Trump. It's about her seeking revenge on John Kelly. And I don't know if you saw this, but Candace Owens offered Ocasio-Cortez $100,000 this time. So now she has got $110,000 between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. All she has to do is have a conversation, have a debate, discuss the issues that she wants to discuss, that she says she's passionate about, and they will donate that $110,000 to the charity of her choosing or to her campaign. But of course, she's turned both of them down because she can't debate the issues. She doesn't want to debate her socialist platform with her or anyone else. Interesting, right? I think because they're liars. She's, of course, scared. Yeah, she's never changed her stripes. Even when she was on The Apprentice, she was ruthless. Even though you guys get a lot of hate, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. People need more facts. By you guys, do you mean people who swing conservative? And less emotional intelligence. Thank you. I appreciate it. Cheap shot. No, we need facts. We don't need emotions. We need to get facts in the picture. Well, guys, this was a very short podcast, and I apologize that it's so short, but tomorrow I'm going to be doing it at 9 to 10 a.m., 9 to 10 a.m., and we will carry over all the topics I was going to talk about today, and then we have another podcast Friday. So tomorrow, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And yes, I pray that more women and men see the light and can open their hearts to love instead of hate, can open their hearts to unity rather than divisiveness, can open their minds to truth rather than lies. I pray for love and protection for our great president and his family and all those working for us, that they remain safe and resilient in the face of so many forces working against them. I pray for all of you and the truth warriors of the world who are courageously speaking the truth and boldly working to bring those who are in the darkness into the light. Put on the full armor of God so that you'll be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces in this darkness, and against the spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places. I pray for all of you to find true and lasting love, and that God puts an incredible partner in your life to be with you during this journey and bring you the beautiful family, the joy, and all the blessings that you deserve. And lastly, we know that good conquers evil, that love conquers hate, and that together and with God's help and grace, we make our country and our world great again. Amen, guys. Thank you so much for your patience today. Sorry for the rushed podcast, but I guess leave you guys wanting more for tomorrow. See you tomorrow, everybody, bright and early, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Mwah. God bless.